Space Marine captains are the most exemplary warriors that the Space Marines have to offer, unsurprisingly. They are some of the highest ranked members of any given chapter, and are looked to for support, leadership, and generally leading from the front, as you'd expect from an exemplary Space Marine. Hello everybody, my name is Spoons Rattling, and today we are covering the Captain, the standard datasheet that is available to everyone, so no chapter-specific things here. This is something anyone can use in their army. The Captain comes in at 80 points, so rather cheap. He moves 6 inches, he's toughness 4, he has a 3+ save, a 4+ invulnerable save, 5 wounds, leadership 6+, and OC 1. In terms of stats, it's nothing outstanding, but nothing bad either for the cost. And he does come with a whole suite of weapon options. He, of course, has the plasma pistol, which at standard is 1 attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range, strength 7, AP 2, and damage 3. You can overcharge to gain hazardous, which gives you strength 8, AP 3, and damage 2. Very, very solid, though of course there is the risk of blowing himself up. Then the standard bolt pistol, which is sort of pointless to bring, is 1 attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. If you're going to bring this, just swap it for the heavy bolt pistol, which is 1 attack that hits on 3s at 18-inch range, strength 4, AP 1, and damage 1. This is, again, pretty solid, just sort of something to blast off a couple guardsmen or something similar. You can, of course, also take the Neo-Volkite pistol, which is devastating wounds, 1 attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range, strength 5, AP 0, and damage 2. Just a small chance to get some mortal wounds on a target, or to shoot a Space Marine to death. He comes standard with the Mastercrafted Bolter, but none of his melee weapon options get to bring it. It is going to be 2 attacks that hit on 3s at 24-inch range, strength 4, AP 1, and damage 2. A solid profile, but obviously you're going to bring a melee weapon, which means you're bringing a melee weapon and a pistol. He comes standard, of course, with the close combat weapon, 6 attacks to hit on 2s, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1, fairly standard and not stand out in the slightest. But you can upgrade to a Power Fist, which is 5 attacks, hit on 2s at strength 8, AP 2, and damage 2, a really, really good profile that really takes buffs very well. Then the Mastercrafted Power Weapon represents power swords, axes, etc. It's 6 attacks to hit on 3s at strength 5, AP 2, and damage 2. Still a very solid profile, though will struggle more to kill tough things even with solid buffs around. Overall, the Power Fist is easily the best, and the pistols are sort of just up to whichever flavor you like. I like the look of the Neo-Volkite, so that's what I bring. Then in terms of abilities, we of course have Rites of Battle, which is once per battle round you can reduce the cost of a stratagem targeting this unit by 1. And then his once per battle ability is Finest Hour. You add 3 to this unit's melee weapon attacks, characteristics, and they gain devastating wounds, giving him 1 round of doing absolutely savage damage to whatever he's in melee with. As I mentioned earlier, the Power Fist is the best melee weapon, and all of the pistols are relatively similar. Though, however, there are some leadership restrictions. He can lead anything in Mark 10 armor pretty much, though if he wants to lead Blade Guard, he needs to bring the Relic Shield, which gives him an extra wound, and if he wants to lead Hellblasters, he needs to bring a Plasma Pistol. So the Captain is unsurprisingly a pretty iconic staple of a lot of Space Marine armies. It's something that a lot of Space Marine players get when they're very new to the game, and he will serve them well throughout the majority of their playtime. He comes with quite a few configurations, though obviously melee weapon and pistol is the best, and in terms of leadership options, I'd say he's good with just about anything he can lead, though prefers melee. Though depending on stratagems, he may want to lead some ranged units. And as I mentioned earlier, to run him with Blade Guard, which is going to be the sort of generic 6-man elite unit the Space Marines can run, he does need to bring Sword and Board, which is the sword and the Relic Shield, which gives him an extra wound, but does mean he won't be quite as efficient at punching up at tanks. However, for Dark Angels players, like myself, you can bring him with Inner Circle Companions with any weaponry, and in general that will be how I run him, as in both Gladius and in Inner Circle Task Force, his Power Fist loves +1 to wound, which he can get in both of those. And speaking of, his free stratagems do vary a bit in usefulness from detachment to detachment. Some detachments like Gladius are very good for him, giving you Lance on command, or even being able to flex into a different doctrine if the need be. Or in Inner Circle Companions, you can get, or Inner Circle Task Force, you can get a reroll all wounds, which is super useful for him and the Inner Circle Companions he would leave. However, there are some places where it's not super useful, like Firestorm or Ironstorm, where both those need to target vehicles and also are 2 CP a lot of the time, which means that reducing the cost by 1 isn't as impactful as making a 1 CP stratagem completely free. Outside of that, he is slightly outshined in some aspects by the Chaplain and the Lieutenants, who give more direct damage buffs but have worse melee themselves. Overall, the Captain is a solid unit. I've been Spoons Rattling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all